Most of the film was made back in the 30s and early 40s. The first one is made in Pittsburg, Texas, around the 1st of October, 1940, and it shows some scenes around the town here in Pittsburg. Oneida Laird, Jack Christopher being fired upon by Dub Curtis. Dub Curtis was a local boy here who spent his time playing with toy pistols and such like, and he did that quite a bit. Jack Christopher at that time worked at Taylor's drugstore. Now here's a picture of Dub firing his cap pistols off. This was made behind Taylor's drugstore. I actually made this part of the picture here. Now we're down to the front of the street, looking down Main Street. Doyle Steele. Doyle Steele now has two boys grown, and one of them got married just a short time ago. These were made down where the State Theater was at that particular time. This was down in the block, I guess you'd say the northeast block of town. This was made inside Taylor's drugstore. Jimmy Guess tells about the fish that got away. Nancy Spencer. K.P. Pearson took this particular part of the picture. I don't even know the girl's name here. He took the part of Nancy Spencer also. The old library building off in the distance there, it burned not too long after this picture was made. This picture made in 1938. I think it burned either in the latter part of 38 or 39. Again, this was made in the back of Taylor's drugstore. Taylor's drugstore was on the south part of the central block at that time. On the left was Fred Steele, we just saw there, and then George Rumsey comes out. These were barbers here in Pittsburgh. Ruth Henderson. Now we're down schoolhouse, and these are the lower grades, and it's hard to tell now just who was who in these pictures. The teachers, some of them I've even forgotten the names. Although the faces are familiar, the names are not. I know the tall boy is a Kimball boy. On the right was Mrs. Eunice Guest. She taught me when I was in the 5th grade. Eunice, of course, was principal, coach, and everything, and Geraldine Bland Palmore. There's a Matkin on the left. Hess on the right front. Hess on the second right back there. Miss Mattie Hill taught me when I was in 2nd grade. Ruth Heath. Ms. Heath now, Ms. Ramey. There's Ms. Nina Berry was back on the, I just saw just a moment ago, one of the teachers, Miss Little May Kelly. Bruce Pratt on the left. J.B. Duke, second and right. Edith McWaters, I believe she was Edith Garrett then before she married. I don't remember where she was married at this particular time or not. She's now Ms. Edith Robertson. These were made out in front of the high school, or at least the high school, all the schools in one building at that time on Lafayette Street. Dempsey on the right. Holman, second on the left. Nan Warwick Johns got tickled back there. By the way, one of the Wallace boys was back to back there just a moment ago on the right. I did not take these particular pictures. They were taken by two men who came through town and were taking pictures to be shown at the local theater. I got this copy of pictures sometime before World War II. I've kept it all this time. These pictures were made from a copy of the film, not the original. The original's in getting bad shape here now. A Mabin on the right. Strube on the right. Young in the center. Hess on the right. Kent, second on the left. Both of these were teachers at that time. One of them, I believe, was Miss Van Duker, and another than Miss Fry. Stovall in the center. Hollinshed, left center. That's the teacher cutting up down on the right down there. I see a Madkin, right of center. Holman, left center. This is across the street, the Kesson lot back there. And now in a minute you're going to see Marion Wallace, Eunice Davis was that time. I saw Nan Sorry just a minute. There's Helen Clayton. Gwendolyn Dickens. She was a Watson. Juanita Smith. Okay, there's Eunice, Marion, and Nan Saree. 3 in a row down there. Mr. Fleming was superintendent at that time. He's on the left here. George Scudder on the right. Royal Elwell and Weldon Duncan dancing in the middle. Now standing again, we look down the road and we see, I think, Royal and Weldon still dancing down there. This is Miss Johnson. I forget her given name, but she worked in the superintendent's office. That was the only employee in the school who was not a teacher or a custodian. She worked part-time in the superintendent's office at that time. Prior to that, there had been no one working in there outside of the superintendent himself. FFA building at the back of the old school building back there. I believe this one burned sometime after this picture was made. The back of the old school building. Now this school building now has been torn down. Nothing but a vacant lot there now. And the old car there belonged to the principal, Ulysses Guest. That was his second car, you might say, at that time. These are FFA students. Benoit Stewart was a teacher at that time. That's Benoit right second from the left now. He's more or less in the center now, center right. He was actually grew up, I think, in Mount Pleasant. Now, this big flag was on a flagpole there at the back of the school building. Back uptown now. Mr. Harrell. Red Young, I could see back there just a minute ago. He's a barber. Jack Cheney, Mrs. C.L. Turner, Mrs. Princeton Bevel on the left, Cecil Neighbors across the street around the filling station here at that time, Rube McClure on the right, Bill Wooten with an apron on, Oscar Hughes wiping his nose back there just a minute ago, Curtis Boys, both of them were barbers. Buddy Hughes walks down the street. Cooter Hackler. Mr. Wallace. Another one of our barbers. There's the Wallaces. Tom and elder Mr. Wallace. I think this is some of the Wallace family too. I'm not sure. I think this is Tom's wife on the right. I'm not sure. Curtis walking down the street. This was a manager of the State Theater at that time. L.C. Christopher, John Bland, Milledge Davis, no relation of ours. About 3 of the barbers. Marvin Warwick on the left. The other one was a customer in the center. Looking east from the red light. Percy Spratt. Jack Christopher. William Truitt, and then that's me peeping around the other corner. Polly Phillips. Polly didn't want her picture made. Milton Light. A.B. Kilmer, he was a cotton buyer here. Ms. H.E. Taylor, Hub Taylor. Mr. Knox. Mr. Knox was the dry goods salesman. Floyd Berry on the left. Judge Bass, the tall gentleman, you can hardly see there in the shadows. He walks out now, so they can probably get a little better picture of him out among the shadows, but still not too good. Mrs. Robinson, they run a drugstore there about where Garrett's is now taking over that building. It was next to Garrett's Dry Goods. State Theater, as it was then, is over in the northeast block. Norman Townsend, Len Blackston, Bucky Harrison with his mother Lucille, Ms. Hardy Moody, Archie Rayleigh, the bread man, Brother Zimmerman, he's the one who married Marion Horace, Mr. Ed Nelson, Mr. Louis B. Hess, Dr. George Chambers on the right. Dr. Chambers is in Mount Pleasant. Archie Rayleigh now, the bakery man who had gone and got a order, now come back and is delivering his bread in the grocery store. Francis Young. Now we're back down at the schoolhouse, down on the football field. It was a scrimmage game between A and B team. The school boys were working out. I don't know who the players were then. I've forgotten. I think the Elwell boys, well, possibly Weldon Milligan, Buller Johns, possibly some more. Now we're back to the end of this film. This is Lacy Davis. Back in March 1983. Talking with you now. And now we're about ready to go into another section of film, and I believe this is the